Call the meeting of the Fire and Police Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Bill Jenks.
Here.
Fred Mogul.
Here.
Ron Stanko.
Here.
Fred Levery.
Here.
And Steve Berner will be absent.
Okay. We have a quorum. Do we have any public comments?
Not from me.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to Western Berks Engines.
I was told you guys got a copy of the report. Any
We did.
questions on that at all?
Anybody have any questions on the, and everybody did receive it?
And then I was asked to bring up the proposed increase per household, if that's gonna go through or not.
We haven't been notified of an increase per household that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of that.
Clarify that with Tony and to what the other municipalities are increasing up to $45 per household from $35.
We have our second budget meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that might be unlikely,
No.
if they do ask for it,
No.
based on the budget numbers. Holy crap.
No. And while we're on that subject, I've been asked by a few people why we are being charged where West Reading is not, because they have an ambulance down there, since we have an ambulance at our station. And you know, I've said I know that's kind of like an extra piece that won't to only be used basically during the daytime or something. But there's some people who are aware of the history are asking why West Reading is not being charged and we are.
Okay.
So if you want to go back to Tony and ask him about that as well.
Okay.
Asking for an increase now, not a great time.
Okay. I'll relay the message.
Okay.
got to go to this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I was told at 11:30.
You got a great memory then, because I don't remember.
Can't hit that rock. So.
But they still got to come to the trough every year.
So they might not understand.
Yeah.
I don't think that falls into the as assigned.
No.
Never comes out of his mouth. So.
You're just happen to be in the hot seat. Okay, anybody have any questions, comments for Western? Continue to do the great job you're doing. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, nothing from Tom Boucher, Westside Emergency Management. Okay, we're moving right along. Fire Department, Chief.
Good afternoon. For the month of October, as of yesterday, there were 142 responses. 97 in the borough. We provided mutual aid 45 times. Year to date, we're up to 1,488 calls. The borough having 993, mutual aid 506. Math is a little off there because of the old record management system throwing some curveballs. QRS for the month of October, 37 responses. The QA has been done through half of the month with 19 patient contacts. That's still 0 Narcan delivered by the fire department. Our 90th percentile response time sits at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Starting to really rely on our new record management system to pull some of this data and trying to understand how it's being pulled so that we can get the accurate information. I have listed in this month the travel times, 90th percentile. 66% of the incidents we fall under the 242nd mark from response to arrival on location. The rest of those are outside of that. Some of that accounts for mutual aid responses where we have a longer travel time to get there. We're averaging around 4.2 personnel per incident, which as the new system starts to catch up with how we're documenting our reporting, that will continue to change and increase to capture the accurate number of responders. Training for the month, 166 and 3/4 hours. Mistyped there, it should say October, not September. Monthly inspections, 45 were completed. This month we're down because of the amount of fire prevention details that we participated in. And on that note, year to date from June till now, we've completed 297 inspections from the fire department side with a total invoicing amount around $62,195. As you can see there, listed on the bottom of my report is all the community engagement activities we've participated in through the month of October. We still have 2 more coming up later this week that were not included. Overall, the staff have participated with 23 and a half hours. They've had positive contact with 927 children and 790 adults throughout all of those events. The biggest one would be the Spooky Hollow event, where they saw right around 350 people total in 3 hours, which that was enjoyed by my staff, and they had really positive comments to bring back. So,
Ethan, can I add something?
you met?
For any of you who were at the fire department open house, it was wonderful to see attendance, I think, triple this year what it's probably been in the past 2 years combined. And I don't know that we have anything specific to attribute that to, but it was great to see so many kids and adults out for that evening.
Only thing lacking was a fire truck.
Yeah.
You got to see the black.
They happen to have a busy night.
They sure did.
Call after call after call.
Yeah, it was, and you know, I was saying we can discuss this, but you know, what about if we would move it to 5, maybe 5 to 8?
That is definitely something to consider. One of the other considerations being that we've traditionally held it on Wednesdays, which is in the middle of the school week, and we're asking for parents to bring their kids. Depending on the age of the kids, their bedtimes might be earlier than others. So looking at maybe either moving to a weekend or trying to tie in with some more of the community events and just putting it out there that the firehouse is open for the month, and if you want to stop by, you can. So there's several different avenues that we're looking into to try and figure out how we can reach the most people
Yeah,
here.
traditionally, we just did Wednesdays
Yeah.
because Wednesday was our training day.
Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the thought and you look into it.
One question I have.
Yes, sir.
Refresh my memory, Kimberton Whole Foods. Okay, you were there and you did something with that?
Yes, so
Okay.
Kimberton Whole Foods was going to hold their annual open house this past Saturday on the 26th. They changed that at the last minute because they were opening another store, so they were having an open house there. Throughout the month of October, they were doing an event called Roundup at the Register, and it was benefiting the fire department. And the funds that are generated through that Roundup will be specifically going to support the smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector installation program, so that we can build up our cache of detectors that we can install for our residents here in the borough.
You answered my question, because I knew we lost out on one because we didn't submit in time, and I couldn't remember if it was the fire department this year or the library.
It was the library.
On a side note, would you get with Colleen? I'll send you an email.
I mean, at this point, they might have already picked next year's.
They could very well have, but, you know, we need to be on board with that.
As far as the open house thing,
Yes, sir.
as you consider how to handle it in the future, I mean, changing a day, you know, or the hours, I'm okay. I'll leave that to your good judgment, but I think rather than say that the firehouse is open all month or something, having a specific time, I think kind of focuses it, and you're gonna get more people on a designated time than you will by letting people wander in, which I don't think will happen very much.
Surprisingly, and first of all, let me start with, I appreciate your comments there, Mr. Mayor. Surprisingly, when we get towards the end of September through October and into about the mid part of November, because of our interaction with the children in the daycares and at the elementary school, we see an influx on people just stopping by to check out the firehouse.
Nothing wrong with that, but I think you ought to have a designated open house.
What I think one of the best attractions there is the kids pick up the garden hose and put the fire out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, which is terrific. But of course, you couldn't have that set up on a daily basis for, you know,
No.
people just stopping in, you know. And that, I think, is very important. You know, I mean, that's a
You could
great
be open
tool.
from Monday through Friday for the week leading up, during that whole fire prevention week leading up, and then Saturday do, like, the event.
But they couldn't have things
No,
like,
it
like
would
the
be
hose
like
and the,
stuff,
and the swag and that other stuff, so.
But just on Saturday would be like the official.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah.
I would think Saturday would be enough, frankly.
Well, we got a year,
It's not
a
my call.
little less than a year to worry
We'll
about.
brainstorm and bring it back.
Yep.
and Get more feedback. I appreciate it, everybody. Any other questions on the monthly report there? If not, a couple of quick staff updates. Technician Lambert and Captain Sykes are both working to finish their bachelor's degree programs through Columbia Southern University. They're both set to graduate here towards the end of November, early December, which is great to see. Since 2008-ish, we've maintained a learning partnership with Columbia Southern University where our members receive a 10% tuition discount if they attend that. The nice thing with that is that it's an online university. They can attend classes and work on college degree work while they're on duty. Keeps them sharp and on the cutting edge of the fire service. With an apparatus update, ladder 79's returned. It's been put back in service. There are still some ongoing issues with it, where our Captain Yeager has been in contact with Blick to get the road service person out here and on the schedule to repair some of those minor repairs. The new engine is at Blick. They're continuing to work on the mounting of the equipment. And hopefully here we'll get that delivered soon.
What's it gonna be designated?
It'll be designated as engine 79 and the current one will move into engine 79-1. So that it is a different designation. From a record management standpoint, First Two has been a huge success for us. Everybody's learning some of the different little aspects of it on how to document reports, and we've been addressing concerns as they come up. One of the biggest items that's coming out of record management here for the end of 24 and into 2025 is this transition from the National Fire Incident Reporting System, where they use a 3-digit code, to this new NERIS, National Emergency Response Information System, where it's going to use plain language and be more of a dashboard, a live dashboard that can give you up to the minute information about what the department is doing. They're planning to roll that out fully across the country here in late 2025, and First Two has been working diligently to create a cross-platform channel so that our information that we currently input can be uploaded into the new NERIS program with minimal efforts by the staff to do that. Finally, the deputy fire chief position, I'll give you a brief update here. We had a civil service meeting on 10/24 to amend the rules and regulations to be compliant with Title 8 here in Pennsylvania, the Borough Code. Those amendments were approved by civil service, will come to the council meeting in November for approval and adoption there, as well as following through with any other aspects that need to happen to start that process. Tentative timeline would be beginning the application process towards the end of November, with hopefully that hiring process ending in late February to come back to council in March of 2025 with a recommendation for a conditional offer.
Does that coincide with, you heard anything from civil service?
We just met last Thursday.
Okay, but I mean, the time frame, they know we wanna have this for the
Yeah.
council meeting, okay.
And that's all I have.
Could you or Michelle clarify the state grant that we received? So it can't be used for the new engine 79, but so how exactly does it work?
So we applied for that grant in November of 2023. The CFA was supposed to meet in July of this year to announce grant recipients, and like most other grant programs, that got punted until last week. So the guidelines for LSA, which is local share account, there's two pots. There's local, which we would be included in Berks County because of the Morgantown Casino. And then there's statewide, which is every casino pays into throughout the state. Our same application went in 2023 for local and for statewide, each asking for $1 million for a new fire truck apparatus. We left it very generic. Because we effectively signed a purchase order before the grant was awarded, we cannot use that $500,000 towards the truck that we just bought in August. So, unfortunately, on that side, fortunately, if you want to look at it that way, we have another piece, the ladder, that's going to have to be replaced in the next 3 to 4 years. We don't have to spend that money for up to 5 years. So, we can effectively sit on the grant contract until we're ready to move forward with securing the ladder and then use the $500,000 towards that.
Those funds specifically earmarked toward the fire department,
Yes.
so we can't play with that,
No.
so that's a good thing.
Yes.
And
I mean, we won't get the funds until we expend the funds. And if for some reason there was a need for, so the CFA was much quicker to act last year on the local Cat 4 LSA grants. Again, we asked for $1 million, we got 60,000, which they've approved towards the deputy chief vehicle. So, I mean, we could slightly shift them around if something happens in the next year that we need to buy some type of apparatus for the fire department that's around $500,000. We could certainly ask to use the money towards that instead. But it has to stay department specific.
What's
And
the matching requirement for LSA?
0. There's no match.
And just ask the obvious, I mean, we applied a while ago, they delayed, we needed to react to purchase the new vehicle for good reason.
I mean, keep in mind it was
We
a
asked
demo.
nicely, saying, hey, are you sure you wouldn't let us use this?
I've already had that conversation with our grant writer and our lobbyist, and they're like, it's very clear in the language.
It's silly.
Agreed.
Thank you.
A lot of things in Harrisburg are silly. Anybody else have anything for the fire chief? Thank you, Ethan. Okay, moving on to police department.
Good afternoon, everyone. So you'll notice on the agenda that my 2 items are pending approval of the budget. But what I'm really looking for is, with the purchase of the vehicles and the hiring, if they make it through, I would, especially with the hiring, I would like to get that process, permission to start that process now before having to wait for the next fire and police committee meeting. Because what is gonna need to happen is civil service needs to be activated to approve the creation of a list and advertising. And I would want to hold the test in January so that it gives us time to do the physical fitness and interviews portions of the testing, and then to get the backgrounds done on the candidates. And then after all that's done, you know, the civil service has to approve the list and then come to council for final approval. So all that's gonna take time, and as has been the tradition here lately, most of our candidates have needed the academy. So that academy is gonna start in July of '25. So I'm kind of up against a tight time schedule here, because it takes time to get through all that process, especially the backgrounds. So that way, if they need the the academy, they go into the academy, that's gonna go through the end of 25. They're gonna come out, starting RFTO January 26. They're gonna be in that till the beginning of April of 26. And then Sergeant Carr's team is done at the end of July of 26. That's the reason for the request for the hiring, is he's in the drop and he must go by that date. So I'm trying to have as little, downtime as far as officers. If we wait, and that person needs the academy, that means we have to wait till January of 26 till he goes in the academy, if he or she would need the academy coming out. So you're looking at the end of 26 till that replacement is on board. Just as a reminder, I had this all planned out, I had the person in place, but that person, that slot, we had that resignation, and that now has put us behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So, and then, like I said, then as far as the cars, because of the, who knows, it's minimum 6 months, it took a year for the last one. I just wanna get that order in as soon as possible. So, like I said, I'm looking for, contingent upon approval through the final budget, that I would be able to start this process right away for both items, and not have to wait till November's Fire and Police Committee to ask.
Well, I was gonna save these 2 questions until tomorrow, since I was not able to be at the meeting, last meeting. Question number 1, if you had to decide on an officer or 1 police car, which one would you pick?
I would pick the officer because
Okay.
we've been down, I think,
Okay. No, I
so
understand.
much lately,
I
and I don't
understand.
wanna make us down even longer.
Okay. No, question number 2 was, if you had to pick, if you could you get away with 1 new car instead of 2?
I kinda said this at the, I don't know if you were at that meeting.
No, I was
That I came up with that 5-year plan, and I presented, and I had lost a car each time, so I have not been able to follow that 5-year plan. So, we're starting to see the issues with the cars and that. So, if I have to make it happen, I'm gonna make it happen. It's just that I expect to see more cars needing more work again, and cars being down, and they get used a lot. When you come here during the beginning of the day and shift change, it looks full. But when you're come through the day, you'll see the lot's empty because guys and our female officers are out doing the things that they need. We need those cars. So if I have to make it work, I have to make it work. I would prefer not to.
I don't think there's anybody here that's opposed to your request, but, what it boils down to is, it goes beyond our committee.
Right, that's why
Yeah.
I'm prefacing it by saying, based upon budget, and if it makes it through the budget process, I would like to have that permission to start before the next November F&P, because it's just gonna put me, especially on the hiring, it's going to kind of put me behind the 8 ball and keeping us on track because of the length of time it takes to do all those steps.
But there's no harm in starting the civil service process. Is there?
Well, I need
You wanna say
permission to
something?
be able to activating them,
So I have a
But
question.
couldn't we,
I don't know the downside, if there is one, it's gonna ask that question.
yeah, I don't know why we would
Well,
start
I'm saying
that.
it's the time and effort of the work that the chief and the civil service commission needs to do. But until you actually take official action to hire someone, you have made a commitment to that officer.
Yeah, but we're so far away from that.
Yeah, so there's no reason we can't start the process.
No reason.
We're not expending any funds, correct?
I mean,
It's time.
minor legal fees and advertising fees to hold the civil service meetings, but
Right, but, and that
advertising for the event.
list stays active for how long?
A year.
18.
1 year.
I thought it was 18 months.
it's a year.
Year.
Yeah, I thought it was 18 months less.
Well, Chris, I assume you need separate motions for the 2 years.
Yes, of course.
So I will move that we start the civil service process.
I'll second.
We have a
That's
motion.
contingent upon budget.
Contingent upon budget approval? Okay, yeah, I think that's important to add,
Right.
include that in the motion.
Well, keep in mind at the same meeting, council meeting, you would potentially be approving this motion. You'll also be potentially approving advertisement of the draft 2025 budget, so. You
Well,
could,
I'd like to ask a question which is somewhat sort of global here. We're talking about police cars, we're talking about hiring police, and we're talking about the timing and all this stuff in the middle of our discussion tomorrow, which is the budget discussion. So I think I know I'm not clear on, I sort of know how much the cars cost, but I also know that there's timing on when the cars arrive. And then there's the new police officer, parentheses, officers, and when that goes out, and how many show up, how many get interviewed, and how long does it take to get the officer? So are we trying to beat, are the cars something we're trying to get regardless of when the officer or officers are hired? Because we're gonna get them because one may run out of gas and we need one? Or are we trying to hook the cars into an officer that shows up and the timing fits everything?
Ron, these are two separate issues.
Well, they're not two separate issues, are they? Yes.
Yes.
So then we need two cars, not one. He wants to get two.
Ideally, he wants two cars.
All right, well, we also.
Well, we have a motion on the table before you,
I'm
because
asking a
you're,
question before we vote on the motion, because the motion on the table is specific to solving one or the other, and I'm saying.
no, it's specific to hiring or
Letting him go through the
enacting civil service.
Right, I
That's
know
all
that,
it
but
is.
once
It has
you
nothing to do with the cars.
Well, it's gonna have something to do with the cars, because if you activate civil service and move toward hiring people, and you haven't done anything with the cars, you may have hired somebody, you don't have cars yet.
Well, again, this person's not an addition, this person's a replacement for someone who's retiring. So because of the length of time it takes to go through the hiring process and their training and everything, I'm trying to get that done now so that by the time they're done, they're ready to go and the sergeant who's retiring retires. So we're not down an officer at all.
We
So
don't have,
it's not an additional offer. I'm not asking to go to 23 from 22. I'm asking to go to hire this additional person, so we're at 23 for a short period of time, but he's replacing, or she would be replacing the sergeant who's retired. So we would be at 22 again.
we wouldn't have any obligation to pay that person until they're in the academy.
Right, we can hire them. You know, it's gonna take
Right.
a while. We're not gonna
We're
be
like
ready to
6-7
go.
months away.
Yeah, we're not, you know, so we have to advertise then. Like I said, I'd like to get that tested sometime toward the end of January. And then there's going to be the PT and interviews, those take some time. And then the background investigations, that's what takes a lot of time.
But Fred, we do pay them while they're in the academy.
Yes,
Yeah, I know.
if they need the academy.
But that's not until July, so.
Right, that's when the next academy.
Yeah.
All we're doing is giving our blessing,
move it.
you know, based upon, you know, if, finance decides to move forward, well, then we don't have to wait until another meeting to have this done. So we have a motion and a second, to, you know, based upon, finance's approval for the advertisement or enacting Civil Service Commission. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
So I will wait, of course, till finance comes through
Say,
the final.
say your
budget.
prayers tonight. Okay, now we have the next issue, which is the 2 police cars. I understand what you're saying, you know, and at this point, you know, wanting to support and give the tools necessary to do the job, okay? And having said that, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 2 police cars pending
Right,
approval from the finance
right, that's
committee.
exactly what I'm asking.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? hearing no objections, the ayes have it. And, again,
Right.
say your prayers tonight.
100%. Like I said, I just don't wanna wait till next month.
Sure.
Put more time.
Understand.
And if the budget doesn't support those cars, then I would also recommend that you get a couple extra rolls of duct tape.
We can do that, we can afford that. And chewing gum.
So let me ask you a question, are we not gonna have the same discussion tomorrow, along with a couple different people?
Yes, tomorrow is the decision-making
So I was
process.
just asking the question on the wrong day to the wrong people.
Well,
Good practice.
Just practice.
that's right, good job, Ron.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Chief, you have anything else?
Just an executive session.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Civil service was changed so you could have more lateral transfers from other departments, and I presume other municipalities have made the same change. Are you seeing many lateral transfers in light of those changes to civil services?
We've gotten some. Our last couple of hires, we've had individuals that have come from another agency. In the past few years, I should say, I should say the last couple, but it just,
And I know you can't, worst
Right.
case, you've got a plan for worst case scenario, which is the academy.
that's correct.
I get that. I just didn't see whether you're seeing more movement between departments.
So we typically have seen most of our laterals from the city. Now, they have a much nicer contract today, and they have some things with retirement, with being out at 20, and purchasing and all that time. And so I'm not anticipating seeing as many. Maybe we will, but I won't know until we put the applications out and we get, them back and see where they're from. But I'm not anticipating as many from the city that we once did.
Lieutenant, do you have anything?
No.
Anybody else have anything? If not, motion to adjourn.
We have executive
Executive
session.
session.
Oh, we have an executive session? Okay.
You have to say whether you're gonna make
I'm not familiar, is this personnel
No.
matter?
Personnel matter, yes.
Will there be any action?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't, not.
Okay, this time we will go into executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Thank you.
There will be no formal action taken once we come back.
Just an objection that personnel issues is not on the list. It has to be a discrete matter.
It says executive session, I'm satisfied that the
Tony
announcement
never
is
tries
adequate.
over, why should you?
Thank you.
Good that you have it on tape.